Okay, so I've written the 3 formulas for converting temperatures at the top, and I would recommend that you do that on your paper somewhere. And then you just have to pick the right formula and plug the right stuff in the right places. So like on the first one, you're converting 30 degrees Celsius into Kelvin. So you're going to want to deal with the top formula, because that's the only one that deals with a C and a K, Celsius and Kelvin. And then you just have to put the right stuff in the right places. So 30 degrees Celsius, you plug in for C since it's Celsius. And then you keep everything else in the formula the same. Okay, so the K stays the same and the plus 273. And then all you need to do is simplify or type into your calculator. I'm gonna come over here because I'm out of space. That 30 plus 273, and you'll get 303 degrees is what it is in Kelvin. Okay, so similar process for the next one. Negative 21 degrees Celsius into Kelvin. Because this is in Celsius, we're gonna put it in for C into our formula, and we're gonna pick the formula that does C to K. So you just have to, again, write down your formula. And then we're gonna put the negative 21 in for C because it's negative 21 degrees Celsius. And we're gonna keep everything else the same. And then all we need to do is type that into our calculator. And when we type that into our calculator, we end up getting 252. So that's what it is in Kelvin. Okay. The next one is the same formula because you're still dealing with Kelvin and Celsius. So we're still dealing with that same formula, K equals C plus 273. But they don't give you your degrees in Celsius, they give you your degrees in Kelvin, which means that you're gonna have to plug it in for K, substitute it in for K instead of C. And the reason for that is because they gave you your degrees in Kelvin. So now we're gonna have to solve for our C in Celsius. Okay, so I'm running out of space. I'm gonna scooch over here. So what I need to do then, I'm gonna rewrite that way we can work off of it. 589 equals C plus 273. 589 equals C plus 273. Okay, so we have to get C by itself. So what's keeping C from being by itself is the adding 273 over on the right side. So to undo adding 273, we just have to subtract 273 on both sides. Okay, the adding and subtracting 273 undoes each other, and we're left with C by itself on the right side, and then we just have to type this in our calculator or subtract it. So 9 minus 3 is 6, 8 minus 7 is 1, 5 minus 2 is 3. And you can always type that into your calculator and double check it. So we get that 589 degrees Kelvin is the same as 316 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the next one is the same formula again. We're still dealing with Kelvin and Celsius as our units. So we're still going to use the K equals C plus 273. That same formula. And because they tell us to convert 110 degrees Kelvin into Celsius, they're giving it to us in Kelvin. We're going to plug that 110 in for the K. And then since we're trying to figure out what it is in Celsius, we have to try to get that C by itself. Okay, I'm going to scooch this over. And I'm going to rewrite it again so we have enough space to do the work. Okay, so again, you have to ask yourself, what is keeping the C from being by itself? Well, the adding 273 is keeping it from being by itself. So to undo adding 273, we have to subtract 273 on both sides. Okay, those undo each other, and that leaves the C by itself. And then you just have to subtract 110 minus 273, and you can type that into your calculator, or you can subtract it by hand. That's going to give you negative 163 degrees Celsius. Okay, so 110 degrees Kelvin is the same as negative 163 degrees Celsius. Okay, now starting with number 5, instead of doing Kelvin to Celsius, now we're doing stuff with Fahrenheit and Celsius. So we want to convert 45 degrees Fahrenheit into Celsius. So the formula that I'm going to pick is going to be that second formula that says C equals 5/9 F minus 32. And I would write that formula down, C equals 5/9, or you can write it as 5 divided by 9. Either way works. And then parentheses, make sure you keep those parentheses there, F minus 32. And because they give it to you in Fahrenheit, we are going to take the 45 degrees and we're going to plug that into our formula for F, because they say it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So we need to put it in for F for Fahrenheit. Okay, and then you're just going to type that into your calculator, and that will spit it out in Celsius. So, if you aren't familiar with Desmos, it's going to be this green icon right here. That's a graphing calculator for us. And we just need to type in the 5 divided by 9 parentheses 45 minus 32. So we're going to do 5 divided by 9. And then to get out of the denominator, you're going to have to click off of that so that it moves on. And then, so 5 divided by 9 parentheses, I forgot what it was. I have to flip back. Parentheses 45 minus 32. 45 minus 32. Okay, that gives you 7.2 repeating. So we're going to say that in Celsius is 7.2 degrees, and we're just going to round it, okay? Okay, that's our answer for that one. Okay, next one, converting 89 degrees Fahrenheit into Celsius. We're going to need to use the same formula that we just wrote down. And the reason we're choosing that formula is we want our answer in Celsius. That formula gives you your answer in Celsius, and we want to input Fahrenheit. And that formula allows you to input your number in Fahrenheit on the right, and it will spit out your answer in Celsius on the left. So we're going to take the 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to plug it into that formula. Okay. So we're putting 89 degrees Fahrenheit in for the F. Fahrenheit is for F. And then all we need to do is we need to type what's on the right side into our calculator, and that will give it to us in Celsius. So we're going to type into our calculator 5/9, or 5 divided by 9 times 89 minus 32. So, and since I already have it typed in once, I can just click up to the one that I typed in before, hit the backspace arrow in the bottom right, and replace that number with 89 this time. Okay, so that gives us 31.6 repeating, and you could either just write that as 31.6 degrees, or you can round that to 32 degrees. So Celsius is equal, I just simplified that. I'm going to write it as 31.6 degrees. So the answer is that it in degrees Celsius is 31.6 degrees. Okay. Next one, we're converting 0 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit. So Celsius into Fahrenheit, we're going to pick that formula that's in the top right. And the reason we're picking that formula is that allows us to input something in Celsius on the right, and it spits it out in Fahrenheit. So we're going to do F equals 9/5 C plus 32. So we're going to do F equals 9/5, or 9 divided by 5, C plus 32. Is that in parentheses? No, it's not. Just kidding. 9/5 C plus 32. Okay, and because the 9/5 is touching the C, there's silent multiplication happening there. Anytime you have a number touching a letter, there's silent multiplication. So then, since they give it to us in 0 degrees Celsius, we're going to take that formula and we're going to plug the 0 in for C because it's 0 degrees Celsius. And we need to put a time sign in there to preserve that multiplication when we substitute that in. So 9/5 times 0, anything times 0 is just 0. And 0 plus 32 is just going to give us, the answer is 32. So 0 degrees Celsius is the same as 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, the next one is Celsius into Fahrenheit, so it's the same process as the last one. So we're going to use the same formula because this formula allows us to input it as Celsius, and it allows the output to be Fahrenheit. Okay, so now we just have to take the 100 degrees Celsius and plug that in for C. And I'm going to put it in parentheses to remind myself that, hey, I need to multiply that. If you need to put like a little dot to remind yourself to multiply, do that. But you have to make sure you do the 9/5 times the C. So make sure that you multiply the 9/5 times the 100 when you do it. Okay, and then, oh man, I didn't mean to put a ruler on there. Okay, so then you need to just type this in your calculator, or you can do it by hand. So we'll do 9 divided by 5 times 100 plus 32. Okay, so 9 divided by 5. And then I'm going to click off so that it will keep typing. Times 100 plus 32. That's 212 degrees. Okay, so I'm just going to flip back over here. That means that 100 degrees Celsius is the same as 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so for number 9 then, Emma is wanting to go to the swimming pool. She only likes to swim if it's above 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And the pool thermometer reads 24 degrees Celsius. And they want to figure out, is it warm enough for her to swim? So you could either try to get it from Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit. The key is you just have to get these two numbers in the same units, okay? So in order to do that, I chose to do Celsius to Fahrenheit, but you could have done Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we just have to get them in the same units so that we can compare them. So I'm trying to get 24 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit. So the formula for Celsius into Fahrenheit is going to be this one, because this one allows us to input it as Celsius and then it spits it out on the left as Fahrenheit. So I'm going to do F equals 9/5 C plus 32 for that one. So F equals 9/5 or 9 divided by 5. C in this case is going to be 24 plus 32. So now I just need to type that into my calculator. Or you can simplify it by hand if you prefer to do that. So I'm going to do 9/5 times 24 plus 32. 9/5, I'm just going to reuse the one I already typed in, times 24 plus 32. That gives me 77. So 24 degrees Celsius is the same as 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we need to say, is 77 degrees Fahrenheit more or less than the 82 degrees that she wants it to be in order to swim in the pool? Well, that's less than 82 degrees, so it's a little too cold for what she likes. So we would just say it's too cold, and that's because the 77 degrees Fahrenheit is less than 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It's supposed to be a degree symbol. Okay. Okay, number 10 then. They're trying to compare 312 degrees Kelvin and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, he's not allowed to go to school. So you need to get these in the same units. So you could try to get the 100 degrees Fahrenheit into Celsius if you wanted, and then try to get that into Kelvin. Or you could get the Fahrenheit into Celsius, okay, leave it there, and then try to get the Kelvin into Celsius, leave that there, that way they're in the same units. The key is that you need these two to be in the same units. So you either need them both to be Fahrenheit, both to be Celsius, or both to be Kelvin. Okay, I'm going to go with and so there's 3 different ways of doing that then. I'm going to go with the one where we're trying to get both of them into Celsius, and then we'll compare them that way. So I'm going to start with the 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So 100 degrees Fahrenheit, if I'm trying to get that into Celsius, the formula for Fahrenheit to Celsius is going to be this one right here, okay? That's going to be the one that we're going to need to use. So that's the 5/9 parentheses F minus 32. So I'm going to do 5/9 parentheses F is 100. So I'm going to put that in for F. F minus 32, or 100 minus 32. That will get it into Celsius. And then I just need to type that into my calculator. So I'm going to type in 5/9 times 100 minus 32. So that's going to be like the top one that I have up there. So I'm just going to delete the old one, and I'm going to put 100 in. So that gives you 37.7 repeating. So I'm just going to write that as 37.8. So, let me write there. Just kidding, we'll come down here. So Celsius equals 37.8. So that means that 100 degrees Fahrenheit is the same as 37.8 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we've got that into Celsius. Now we need to get the other one into Celsius so that we can compare them. Okay, so we need to get Kelvin into Celsius. That formula is going to be that top one, K equals C plus 273. That's the only formula that deals with Kelvin and Celsius. So I'm going to write down that formula, K equals C plus 273. And they want it to be 312 degrees Kelvin. So where the K is for Kelvin, I'm going to replace that with 312. I'm going to keep the equals C plus 273 the way it is. And now I need to figure out what it is for C. So I need to solve for C. So you have to ask yourself, what's keeping C from being by itself? Well, the plus 273 is. So to undo plus 273, you have to minus 273. And whatever you do to one side, you're going to have to do to the other side as well to keep it balanced. Okay, so the 273 minus 273 undoes each other. That leaves us with C by itself. And then you just need to subtract 312 minus 273. And that will give you 12 minus 3 is going to give you a 9. And then we're going to have to borrow from that guy, right? 11. Borrow that. 9. And that's going to give you... What is that? 312. That's going to give you 39. Okay, cool. Okay, so that means that 312 degrees Kelvin is the same as 39 degrees Celsius. Okay, so now we just have to compare these. it says that it has to be above 100 degrees Fahrenheit for him to not go to school. And we know that 100 degrees Fahrenheit, this isn't writing, there we go. We know that 100 degrees Fahrenheit is the same as 37.8 degrees Celsius. So the temperature outside is 39 degrees Celsius. That means that's hotter than the 37.8 degrees Celsius. So that means that he shouldn't be allowed to go to school because it's slightly over the 100 degrees Fahrenheit or slightly over the 37.8 degrees in Celsius.